quick tutorial on digital workflow, specifically moving from Rhino to Illustrator. I hope this will help you with your diagrams. I have set up a really quick little example here, and we're going to call this our widget. And here, this would represent the overall massing of the object or the building or whatever it is. Here we have some nested volumes that are going to become kind of internal program blocks to the overall massing. And then here we just have a bounding box, and we'll use that to generate some construction lines, as you'll see. Okay, I set up this as an isometric, so it's in parallel view right now, and I already made some make 2Ds here. If you view them from the top, we have a overall cubic volume. Then we have the massing represented with some kind of key hidden lines here. Then we have the internal program blocks, and then we have an extra layer for our live paint that we will be doing in Illustrator. So notice that not only do I have my digital model here kind of pulled apart, I also have my Make 2Ds set up in layers, and working as layers. It will really help you keep your drawings organized. I noticed that you guys had some jumbles going on with your Make 2Ds. So if you can't read your Make 2Ds, you're not doing yourself any favors. So keep it organized. And if you notice, I have my layers well organized. I have a profile layer, which is our heaviest line weight, which will become our heaviest line weight, right? So if we look over here at these top views, you can see that they're color coded and ready to have line weights applied to them in Illustrator. Right here we have the profile line weight. That would be the darkest, looking at the profile of our massing. Then we have a spatial edge. A spatial edge is the next darkest line, and that is denoting that there is space behind that edge within the volume, right? So then we have edges. Edges are where two planes that are visible come together to create an edge. A seam, we don't have any seams in this object, but without a change in plane. Okay, so then there is construction lines. I set this cube up as some construction lines. We'll see how that turns out later. Hidden lines. You can divide up hidden lines into their own hierarchy, but right now I just have one simple hidden line, and it's just showing the profile of that punch that's running through the volume. And then I have a paint layer, and will be our live paint layer here, and you'll see that will make it really easy for us to live paint this thing when it comes to Illustrator. Okay, a couple things to note. When I was making 2D, I went ahead and I have some little registration marks here, so that when I go to make 2D of these various objects, those registration points will make it easy for us in Illustrator to register and stack these drawings, and to create one drawing out of 4 Make 2Ds, right? Okay, so we're all organized here. Everything is done. Now this took me a little while. It will take you guys quite a while because you have much more complicated buildings, but this will really pay off. I can't stress enough how important it is to do as much of this as you can in Rhino, and getting all your ducks in a row here, getting really organized, having all of your line weights denoted, your line types set up. It will really take you a long way. I even like to do all my text in Rhino as well. So now I'm going to go ahead and just do the Illustrator portion of this tutorial, and I'm going to start by exporting this. So I'm going to go up here, I'm going to go File, Export Selected. So I'm going to export this to Adobe Illustrator. I'm going to call it my widget. I'm just going to re-export this file right here, and I'm going to say export. I'm going to say yes, go ahead and replace it. And now it comes up to my AI export options, and this is where you can set the scale of your drawing. We have been working in full scale in Rhino, and we always do, with some exceptions. And here is it gives me a chance to, instead of snapshot, I want to make sure I say preserve model scale. And this is a relatively small object within Rhino. I think the major grid lines represent 1 foot. So I just want to set this on an 8.5 by 11 sheet of paper. So I'm going to go from 1 foot to 1 inch. Okay. But a lot of you will be going into 16th scale, and you can, right here, you can set this up to be 1 foot equals a 16th of an inch. Okay. I'm going to keep this in CMYK and say export. Now I'm going to pull that open in Illustrator. Here we're going to see, this is going to be kind of our final drawing that we've been working on, that we will work on. But let's go ahead and show you how to do this really quick. So I'm just going to go ahead and open. I'm going to open my widget, open that. Notice it's kind of off the page, so I'm going to just pull out here. First thing I'm going to do is just set my page up real quick. I'm just going to go here to my artboard tool and then set this up as a letter at portrait mode. Done. Now we're going to take these, I'm going to select them all, grab one of those anchors, get that first layer where I want it. I'm going to move in here. I'm going to get the second one. Now I'm just going to pile everything on top of each other. And we just want to make sure that we use that registration mark. All right. So now we have, note we have all of our layers here, which is really great. And I want to just do my live painting first of all. So I'm going to select that layer, hide everything else. I'm going to select it all. I'm going to use my CMYK color sliders. I'm going to select my live paint bucket tool. Let's make one cyan. Can't remember which one I did in my last demo here, but we'll do one at 100%, 40%, and you guys won't use these exact numbers. We'll set up those exact numbers in a page template that I will give to you guys, but we'll just do 100, 40, and 10 for the sake of this tutorial, just to give that some basic shading. Okay, so now I'll do one in magenta, 100, 40 for that top face, 10 for that side face, and then now we'll do one in yellow. Again, 100, 40, and 10. Okay, so now we have this shaded. So we want to get rid of those black lines, so that all we have is this thing that's shaded. Those internal, these are representing our internal program blocks. Now I can go ahead and turn on my other layers here, and I want to put my live paint in the back, and I also want to just kind of switch this around real quick. So I want my profile, my spatial edge, my edge, construction, and hidden lines. So first, now I'll just go ahead and select my lines, all of them, all of my line work. And right now they're all different colors as they were in Rhino, but I'm just going to go ahead and turn them all black. So now we have all black lines. And then I'll go ahead and set the stroke of those lines. So we're just going to get a ballpark here. We don't really know until we print this thing out. But for my heaviest line, I'm going to use 2 points. For my spatial edge, I'll use 1 point. For my edge, I'll use 0.5. And for my construction lines, I'll use 0.25, right, for this guy out here. For the hidden lines, I'll go ahead and do 0.25 as well, or maybe 0.5, but I'll give it a dashed line, and I'll just use that same dash as I used before. So here we go. We have clear hierarchy in our line weights. We probably want to dial these in a little bit more um, once we print this out. But we have a heavy profile line showing the overall form. We have a construction line there. We've got our hidden lines, and then we have a little bit of hierarchy within the masses, right, denoting our edges from our spatial edges, or the little registration mark here for now. All right, and voila, there it is. Pretty simple. Most of the work is in that initial organization and layering of our line work as Make2Ds in Rhino. When it comes to Illustrator, really I like to use Illustrator as little as possible because in Illustrator things can go sideways pretty quickly. But I like to just use it for my live painting and my assigning line weights and line types. And this gives us a really nice illustration style drawing. This is our base workflow. And again, this is just kind of the Make2D organization, setting up your line weights. I showed you guys how to scale out of Rhino into Illustrator. And then we looked at assigning some baseline weights. Okay, great.